Alright then, so yeah, season finale, Vegeta versus Gogeta. And I'm really glad it's not going to be a pitiful episode. We didn't really
That sounded like a play on something else.
Yeah, to be honest, there's no good segue into our third topic. Don't be petty to me about it.
Ha! That's better.
Alright then, so people, we've kind of talked about various different types of either toxic fans. We've talked about one-sided fights on this channel, stomps. So there's one topic though we've been kind of bouncing around. I think this was in the last season as well of Lads Discuss Death Battle.
Yeah, we brought this up because of a certain fight from last season.
Yeah,
I think I know what you mean.
So people, if you've ever been on either Death Battle wikis, fandom wikis, a DeviantArt, people do their own fights. But a really popular trend I remember seeing years ago when I used to read a lot of fights was either purposely one-sided fights or petty fights. And even the fandom tries to bring that same energy to Death Battle. You may be wondering, what do I mean by that? Whenever a series either has a long win streak, or it's a series people don't like, or it's a character they don't like, people want to have that character lose or win because they don't want either the other side to win or it's a franchise they don't like. And this energy I was seeing a lot of when DC was getting a bit of a win streak. Hey, listen, if they can't win at the box office, they might as well win on a fanfic.
Oof.
Yeah, I made myself sad. Just Professor Farnsworth. Oh, I'm sad now. But yeah.
No, that was Bender, wasn't it?
No, Professor Farnsworth.
I made myself feel bad.
Good news, though, everyone.
No,
we can talk about it on the Death Battle side of things.
No, it was during an episode when Fry was dead, but it was actually Leela in a coma. And then she goes like, Fry's body is... Fry is dead. He's like, of course he's dead. He's a carcass in space. Wah! Oh, I'm sad now.
Oh, I was thinking of the El Chupa episode, the empathy chip. Bender's laughing at Leela. Oh, I made myself feel bad.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Good episode. Okay,
yeah,
so...
both were.
We might as well just say this outright and rather not delay it. What do we think of petty fights? I think they're a shitty mindset to have.
Same.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you can defend petty fights. Because when DC was having a bit of a win streak, this wasn't a vocal minority as well. This is a majority I was seeing. They were trying to come up with a death battle where DC would guarantee lose. And it was...
Okay, so there's a very big example that I can think of for it.
I know what you're thinking of.
I think I do too.
Bro, it was on this fucking podcast.
Yeah, do you want to say it? Because I forgot the other character's name.
10 versus Beast Boy.
Okay, that wasn't
I was thinking of something completely different.
I mean, it was another lantern, but it... Okay, yeah, okay, what's
another
the...
lantern? What?
Yeah, the White Lantern versus an anime character.
Wait,
Yeah, Carl Reiner versus someone that... Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because that episode only started getting popular because they thought a a Lantern character / DC character would lose. But suddenly, the majority of people don't want that episode anymore because, big shock, they actually believe now that the White Lantern would win. Now, I'm not too familiar with the White Lantern story, so, you know, I might look into it if this episode gets announced.
I would just say, you know how powerful Green Lantern is? Yeah, White Lanterns are even more powerful.
Yeah, that's the basic concept. And yeah, so people suddenly didn't want that episode because White Lantern won. And the thing that was kind of sad about this was that I actually feel like Death Battle were also trying this because of that vocal majority. Because their main reason they wanted to do Green Lantern versus Ben 10 was because they truly believed Green Lantern lost before the research. But...
And also, like, it felt more like a better theme, honestly, with Ben.
Yeah, it was. But the reason they did it is because they wanted DC to lose as well, which I hate the fact.
I don't know if that was the reason. I might have to look back into that.
They said that on the Death Battle podcast.
Oh, they did? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Like,
I mean,
Chad was
it
even
also
laughing,
explains,
saying,
like-
we really thought Green Lantern was going to lose. That was our main reason. I'm probably
Like,
misquoting
Liam
him.
tried his hardest. Liam tried his hardest with Ben, I will admit, to make it seem like Ben 10 won, but I forgot who did the Green Lantern research, but that person was just like, here's evidence that says otherwise. I'm sorry, guys.
I think it was Liam, like, who...
No, Liam did.
I
Liam was
think he was the writer of the episode.
No,
Liam was the head researcher of Ben. Let me double check the Verblascus pictures.
Okay.
Go on, though.
I was certain that Liam was the one that was pulling up all the facts. Oh, no, I think he was coming in to bring up the notes that his team brought up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like on Death Outcast.
Now, of course, though, this sort of mindset isn't a stranger to the Death Battle community. Because even a lot of Deku fights, which I was actually a bit surprised when this episode was announced, a lot of people don't like Deku. Really surprising, because I would imagine more people can relate to Deku over any other anime character, really. But, yeah, people came up with a lot of Deku fights where he got stomped because they didn't like him. And it's like, don't get me wrong, if you don't like a character, fair enough. There are characters I don't like, I despise. But if they
Same here, that's why I try not to request them.
But at the same time, though, if someone came up with an interesting episode for it, I'd be all down for it. Like, in Ruby, there's that villain, Adam Torres. I absolutely hate that character. However, him versus Sam...
Yeah, screw him.
But him versus... I think we hate him for two different reasons, mate. But him versus Sam from Metal Gear Rising, I can see the appeal of that. That actually sounds rather interesting. I would want to see that. Not because I want to see Adam die or Sam die, even though... Because I don't like...
Absolutely would.
But would it be fun? Absolutely. I can see the creativity, especially visually, because a lot of the visual aspects of Adam's fights are pretty entertaining, as same with Metal Gear Rising. But it's not me wanting to see a character lose. I want to see a good fight. And there's even that mindset in like fan fights that I see online, where they just make one of the characters as pitiful and as pathetic as possible. Like that. I remember reading one where they just made Deku a complete whinger through the majority of the fight. I'm just like, that's not his character at all. He's trying his best. That's his whole character. Like, he's given it his all in the fight. That's the whole point of, like, you want my best. So when they make those sort of characters, it was kind of like the whole thing with Aquaman versus SpongeBob. They just made him in the fight just a big crybaby, which I didn't like. But I don't think they were as petty as, like, the fandom is, because at the end they at least had Aquaman be a badass near the end of his fight.
Yeah, I think it was meant to be like a redemption sort of moment.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was the goal, from what I remember.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, in the official episode. I'm not speaking on behalf of any, like, fan-made stuff.
Yeah, that's what I meant, like, you know, the actual fight, you know. But, yeah, there's just a majority of times. I remember reading this one years ago, which was Goku versus Darkseid. I would not request this for an actual death battle, but, you know, my fanboy side is like, I would absolutely love to see this type of crossover. Obviously not as official death battle, that would be kind of lame. But they mostly just had it with Darkseid just toying Goku the entire time, not even commending how much of a good fighter he was. And they even end the fight with it seeming like Darkseid was defeated and all of Goku's friends are swarming him saying well done. And then Darkseid just vaporized him and his friends are just there crying over Goku's corpse. I'm just like...
The fuck?
I'm just like, bro, that is such an insult to Goku's family. And then Darkseid's laughing. Darkseid doesn't laugh at that stuff. He's a tyrant, but he also respects the people he fights if they're like able to...
I think they confused Darkseid with Frieza.
Yeah. It's like, that's not Darkseid's character. And that's the other thing as well with petty fights. You could end up making the other side just look douchey. Like, we've all kind of seen it. You know how, like, people, Xbox and PlayStation fanboys argue and both sides just look really bad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like a lot of people write a lot of characters. They want to kick this other person's ass. And I think it just ruins the character. I remember another example, Predator versus Arbiter. I remember reading something like that. And that's a matchup mate wanted. How about we have
That's it! You know what? No.
Okay.
Time and place, mate.
But let me
Yep,
ask
time and place.
Let me ask you this, mate. When you think of Arbiter versus the Predator, you're thinking Arbiter being an honourable warrior. Even if he won or lost the fight, the Arbiter would show respect to the Predator.
Yeah, that's like a whole thing. They both have a code of honor.
Okay, then how would you like this for the fight to end? The Arbiter mocks the Predator throughout the whole fight, kills him brutally, and him and Master Chief just laugh and say, "Do you want to get a beer after this?"
That sounds like you're trying to make an Arby and the Chief fanfiction, but mixing up Arbiter and Chief's personalities.
It does, doesn't it? Like, don't get me wrong, Arbiter's had his occasions where he has a little jest at his opponent, but the majority of the time, he's a respectable warrior. This fanfic, though, was just, the person even admitted he doesn't like the Predator. He just likes the matchup because he would want to see the Predator just get killed. That's just a horrible mindset. Like, why would you want that fight? Like, I would want to see Predator versus Arbiter just because it's a very fitting fight for two of those combatants.
Bless you.
I thought that was you,
I'm
mate.
sorry, I'm allergic to all the fucking pettiness I'm hearing.
But well done. That's a good segue. It's just really shameful that I see that, and this isn't just a minority thing. I see this a lot by people that just want to see a fight. Like, if it was just done as a joke, no big deal. But the moment you're committed into writing the research and have it right in the mocking tone for the fight, that ruins the fun of it.
Yeah, like, okay, if the whole purpose of the fight is like, oh yeah, these characters are jokes, like, in their series, I can understand going in there with a mocking tone. That's why Hercule versus Dan works. Yeah,
because it's funny. They're both the weakest of their universes.
And that's kind of the joke.
But not only that, though, when they actually did the fight themselves, it literally starts off with them both missing a very weak punch and tripping over one another. That was funny. And even the music was like some circus theme. It's like, that's brilliant. But it's not...
God.
God, that episode is so good. I want to go and rewatch that now.
Yeah, but I feel like doing that sort of thing is pretty good. But... Or even like Smokey the Bear versus McGruff the Crime Dog, like, you're just seeing two animated animals fighting each other and they're treated like slapstick. It's funny to watch. But they didn't try and go into that mocking the fact that, oh yeah, McGruff was gonna die, because, yeah, Smokey is a god.
Also, bear versus a dog.
Yeah. But you can tell there's no mean-spirited tone towards it. In fact, during Asda vs. Deku, that's all I saw from the Discord that I left. I just saw people looking forward to seeing Asda destroy Deku. Yeah, it was one-sided. Asda was going to destroy. But at the same time, though, I don't want Deku to be represented as a joke, as a weakling. I want him to be giving it his all. Go beyond. And that's what he did. He went beyond, and Asda, had a good fight. But... do I want to see Deku just being a crybaby for the majority of that fight and then Asda mocking him? No, I don't want to see that. That's just an insult not only to the character but also to the fans.
I can get that.
In fact, I think we've also seen a lot of Goku versus Superman videos where all they do is trash Superman.
Yeah.
Like,
I've
without...
lost count.
So, like, for instance, now, I'm not going to actually say the name of this episode, but I want to actually say the series, but... so, Cartoon Fight Club did an episode of... They've done a lot of Goku versus Superman episodes. And they sometimes get a co-host to join Animation Rewind. Fair enough. One episode they had, though, that one of their co-hosts was legit... saying, can we please stop talking about Superman now? He's a trash character, and he was given a trashy end. I'm just like, man, that's just a middle finger to Superman. Because without Superman, you probably wouldn't have Goku.
I mean, technically, without Sun Wukong, we wouldn't have Goku.
Yeah, but Goku's
Point
origins...
still stands.
Goku's origins are...
I mean, we'd still have the original Dragon Ball, not necessarily Z.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of heroes throughout history owe it a lot to Superman. And I feel like...
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If Superman did lose a fight against Goku, I feel like Goku wouldn't treat Superman like trash. He would treat him as like a powerful warrior. If anything,
He'd just be like, "Oh boy, I got to fight a strong guy."
yeah, like
Oh boy, I got to beat the Kryptonian finally. Wait till Vegeta hears about this one.
like that's the thing that people need to remember is like Goku isn't a character that mocks the weak. If he won against Superman, I wouldn't be surprised if he resurrected Superman just so they could train together. Because that is in Goku's character. He respects an opponent that much. And Death Battle represented that really well in the first ever Goku versus Superman. When Superman was getting weakened by the kryptonite, Goku destroyed it. Because it's like, yeah, I don't want to fight you when you're weak. If it was Vegeta would have totally taken that opportunity and killed Superman.
I'd be like, well, that sucks to be you.
Yeah, he would absolutely do that. But I wouldn't be angry about it. It's just like, yeah, that's Annie's character. But Goku is not that character, and I really hate the fact that in that episode of Cartoon Fight Club, they pretty much did that. Like, they just basically had one of their co-hosts insult a really famous character. Now, I have heard from, like, Richard, because he works for Animation Rewind, he doesn't do that much co-hosting. So, obviously the team clearly were like, yeah, that was bad. I mean, the video's still up, but I do appreciate the fact that they don't keep that same attitude for future episodes. But it's not just them, though. Just so many YouTubers that really hate Superman have that mindset of just making Superman, like, a really pathetic hero and Goku just, you know, the Chad. Well, really butchering his character.
But who's the Ben? Because Ben and Chad.
Oh, right. I see what you did there.
That is a question I cannot logically answer.
Alright. Do you want that? Since I have taken up a... Oh, sorry, Sean.
I think with the pettiness also is just like, that's why, you know, people want to take down, you know, what makes the characters, you know, their characters.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know, it just doesn't go the way that they wanted, because they wanted a different way. Every interpretation is different. Just because your character, you know, loses the debate doesn't make them a bad character in any shape or form. Because at the end of the day, shows like Death Battle and Cartoon Fight Club are just like making videos say, you know, why they think this person wins.
Yeah, just don't have that co-host ever again, Cartoon Fight Club. I mean, they did get some backlash for him as well. If you're expecting me to name the person, I'm not a douche like that. I'm not going to name drop them, and I'm not going to say which Goku and Superman video it is. If you want to go ahead and watch them all, waste your time with that. But we don't want to, you know, send an angry mob to them just because they made one bad episode.
Thanks, Pan Clogs.
Is that the name of the mystery person?
Yes.
Pan Clogs. Oh, yeah, screw you, Pan Clogs. But, you know, I've talked a lot about pettiness, but, May, you've definitely also seen a lot of this petty side, hence why you don't really hang around a lot of the versus and death battle community.
Yeah, and I touched on this before, like, a lot of it, like, is, being geared towards, Ruby in particular, and given that I'm a big fan of that, I don't really want to be around, those sorts of, assholes. And, like, some of the comments I have seen, like, when Ice Queendom was coming out, I saw people actually asking Death Battle, can you do Ruby versus Marker now before Ruby gets upgrades and wins?
Very petty. Very petty. Like, I'm not going to pretend Ruby is a Shakespearean character. She's adorable, though. She's adorable. She's funny. I mean... yeah, it would suck to see her lose, but I wouldn't. It's not. She's a kind of a character I wouldn't lose sleep over. It'd still be kind of sad if she lost. But at the same time, though, if she did get a power boost, then yeah, good. At least it'll make the fight more interesting and debatable.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, even if you just ignore, oh, it's up towards Ruby, begging Death Battle to do a fight before a character could possibly get an upgrade and win, like,
What the fuck is wrong with you?
yeah,
And I guarantee
that's just
you,
like, no, don't do this. No, I want you to throw this person under the bus before they get anything good, basically.
And do you know what? If the shoes were reversed and, let's say, Marker was never going to get anything for Soul Eater before like she got a power boost, not many people would actually be saying, no, please hold off this fight. Like, if the shoes were reversed, Ruby was finished, Soul Eater was still continuing. If things were reversed, they would say, please just wait until Soul Eater is finished.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, you don't want that. We don't want that either. It shouldn't be a contest of, hey, you know, let's have Ruby kill these guys before they get a power boost. Because, funny enough, I also saw that when My Hero Academia was coming out, and, you know, people were trying to pit Deku up against Ruby. Not a fan of that matchup, to be honest, because very different characters.
Oh, no, I remember there was, like, a group I saw a video of. They were going over, like, okay, we want to see Deku in a death battle, but he loses all of his opponents. What about Ruby? Oh, he wins? I want that. Like,
funny enough,
you know what?
At that time, Ruby would win.
I was gonna insult them, but nah, they're not worth it.
Like, here's the thing. Like, talking about, like, Ruby in particular. It is a popular show. Every other day, at least here in America, it's trending on Twitter.
Same over here in the UK and in Japan. In fact, Japan love Ruby. Like, it's like you don't see as many criticisms on it as you do in the UK and America. Like, Japan loved the show. It got to a point that an anime studio was like, can we please do a spin-off, please?
And then they're like, okay, sure. And then it goes, thank you. And then we don't hear from them until months later saying, here's Ice Queendom, have fun.
Now, I will say, the people behind Rooster Teeth, and to be clear, the CEOs of Rooster Teeth, Kruby, I've actually met Miles. He's actually a really nice guy.
Oh, you have? Lucky.
Yeah, he was at one of the...
You mean Carrie?
Nah, sadly not. But I've heard, but from Miles...
I've met Carrie.
okay.
I was talking to Maeve.
Twice, in fact.
Oh. But yeah.
And he remembered me from the first time, despite the fact that it was, like, so many years later.
That's great.
Who can forget the world's biggest Blake Belladonna fan? That's a quote from your Twitter bio.
And a man that has killed Adam in the Comic-Cons, like, how many times now?
I think at least, like, I've stopped doing that, like...
Well, the first time was with an energy sword. Was the other time a diamond sword?
I actually don't really remember, but... Like, it was a thing I used to do as, like, a gag. Like, the cosplayers, they were all in for it. They thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But I just stopped. Like, it was just like, I'm not gonna bother.
Fair enough. I think it'll be exhausting trying to come up with, like, a new type of weapon to kill Adam with.
Yeah. Plus, it would mean me or one of my friends have to buy a new weapon at every single convention. Like, screw that.
But yeah, like...
Yeah. Oh, and another example of, like, pettiness, again, towards Ruby. When Mikasa was teased for Season 8, I saw so many people begging Death Battle, don't put her against Blake.
It was obvious they were going to do Blade, because a majority of Mikasa's matchups are pretty bad, don't have a theme, and are just even more one-sided. Like, people were saying, oh, can you have Spider-Man instead? I'm just like, you are mad aware this man once kicked Doctor Doom in the face and knocked him out.
Like, I get it.
Well, there's, like, one I saw quite frequently was, like, this girl from Danganronpa, Junko's sister. Yeah, her. Like, I saw people, like, begging Death Battle, can you put her against Mikasa instead? It just came across as just like, oh, I don't want to see Ruby get a win, so just put Mikasa against this person.
And
here's my problem with that one. Mukuro's done jack shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you're gonna put Mikasa against a Danganronpa character, wouldn't Peko make a million times more sense?
You would think so.
And do you know what? I'm not going to name drop this person, but we do know this person who reviews Death Battle. He even had that mindset when reviewing the episode. And it just ruined the review for me, because all I'm seeing is just someone basically be a crybaby over a franchise who doesn't like winning.
Like, I'll be honest, though. I feel like that was the best Mikasa matchup for her.
I don't like Blake.
I know Blake
at
has
all,
other...
But
I know Blake probably had other options, but I think, you know, taking that aspect out of it real quick,
this
was the best option for Mikasa.
I also feel like it was the best option for Blake.
Yeah.
Just as, like, by herself.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I feel like Blake also has some pretty interesting matchups. I remember Yang the Insane years ago saying she was going to do Noob Cybot versus Blake. On one hand, I can see that being kind of... Yeah, on one hand, that is creative.
Spoilers, by the way. In Yang's version of that, Blake actually did win.
Did she? I think the time I can't remember that fight, but on one hand that was a pretty creative idea. It was a more out the box idea. But on the other hand, though, I do kind of like Noob Saibot versus Reaper over that fight. And plus, Noob Saibot's personality and Blake's are very different characters. One's about equality. She will fight for it and defend her friends. One, I want the world to be in darkness. Like, very, not a very thematic episode there.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I do think the hate for Ruby is definitely, what's the word I'm looking for? Over-exaggerated.
Yeah, the hate is not as big as people think. Like, yes, the story has some questionable choices, and even some of the villains are a bit meh, but the MCU has meh villains. Still a fantastic franchise. Without the twerk and She-Hulk. But the point is, like...
Yeah, I just mean in terms of, like, them in Death Battle.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
I can understand not... Like I've said, I don't like Blake. I've been pretty...
Racist.
Oh my god, what the hell, man? You threw a race card in there? Okay, then,
Hey,
let me think of a
here's the
different...
question. Bill, do you like Geralt at all?
From the Witcher series.
Yes.
I like the Netflix version.
There you go. Now you're no longer racist.
So, alright, but the point is, like, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Blake. I'm not her people. I'm not a fan of Blake. Oh, I get it now. But yeah, I'm not a fan of her character, but when her fight was announced, I was like, oh, yeah, mate's finally got his episode. Well, what I actually said was, I tweeted, I can hear someone screaming. But yeah, I didn't
break your earphones again, did I?
Nah. You just killed the original Billy. We had to clone him. I mean, what?
My reaction after Nate scream and my ears, I just took my headphones on and just was like, yowie, wowie.
Even when I took my headphones off, and I couldn't hear him normally talking, but I could hear the scream. That's how loud he was. Right, so yeah, like that whole mindset towards a franchise. If you don't like a franchise, fair enough. And if you really want the one side to lose, fair enough. But don't go into the mindset you just want that character to be humiliated, trashed on, just treated like garbage. Because that's not fun. If you find it fun, then you're kind of you're that person at the party no one wants to be around. Because what's the point of coming up with a debate when you're just coming up with fights that are easily one-sided and you just make one side look like a douche? Like, I could pull up so many examples, but we'll be here all night, and I'm pretty sure we don't want to just have a whole rant about petty fights. The point is that we just don't like them is because it takes the fun out of the whole debate idea.
And like alluding to earlier, one of the biggest examples in the community was on the podcast years ago, like the deleted podcast, because like everyone, half of the people on that episode were in that mindset. It was that bad.
Do you know what? I think we can address it because we've kind of teased in the background, so we're not going to name drop people, of course. However, yeah, we had the reason those episodes got deleted. Well, one of them was privatized, but I don't have any plans to unprivatize it. But the reason it was deleted was because, one, I was in a bit of a shitty attitude because, one, unfortunately my cat Salem passed away the same day we were recording that, and also two of the co-hosts we had were pretty shitty towards one franchise, to the point they either wanted, one of the thumbnails they wanted me to make was having his avatar be crying that DC got another win in Flash vs Sonic. Which, looking back on it, I thought it was funny, but now I'm just like, I do feel like that's kind of a crybaby attitude to have, really. And we have...
It was so bad. Even on me as an editor, like, the amount of breaks I had to take.
Yeah.
After hearing all that was awful.
It did, in a way, though, it also just led to a little bit of conflict behind the scenes, because, alright, I guess if we're going to talk about petty fights, I should probably say how the outcome, because of this whole petty attitude, what was the outcome of the original co-host? I should make it clear, me and Jara and Richard, we're still friends, we still do content together occasionally, But we did agree that maybe Death Battle wasn't the content we'd talk about, especially when one was losing interest and the other one was trash talking it, and one of the other co-hosts we had was just really bad when it came to either just DC and Death Battle or just DC in general. Now here's the thing, if you don't like DC, yeah, fair enough, it's not everyone's cup of tea. They have a very type of theme with their comics and TV shows and games. But on the other hand...
I mean, I myself, I'm not too invested, but I have characters that I like and think are cool, and I like their movies.
Like, legit, that was the biggest reason they wanted Ben 10 to fight Beast Boy and not Hal Jordan.
Yeah, because that would have led to Beast Boy losing. Like, but it's like... If the roles were reversed, they would have hated that. And that's probably why you don't hear them on the podcast much, because I fired him. Not Richard and Jaru, the other co-host who will go unnamed, because he brought a lot of pettiness to the podcast. And one of the most awkward moments in the deleted episode, my microphone was acting up, so I had to spend a majority of that fixing it. However, if you could hear him behind the scenes, I was getting frustrated at how he took charge and just started mostly just trashing DC. And of course, as a DC fan, I'm okay with you criticizing it, saying you don't like it, but when you start bringing the pettiness of trashing the series, one, I'm going to get annoyed about it, but also people who might be DC fans will also get annoyed about it. And...
yeah.
It got to a point... Now, that wasn't the reason I fired him. There was some other behind-the-scenes stuff, but that was more private stuff, so I'm not going to go into that. But that was kind of the turning point.
The catalyst. Yeah, the catalyst for everything.
Yeah, the private stuff that happened, that was just the nail in the coffin. But it ruined my... Because originally, because they were fans of the podcast, and he was actually a nice guy, but obviously I was warned by other people, including Jaru himself, that bad idea. But me being the big brain Billy, I was like, nah, it'll be fine. And if Morgan Freeman was my narrator, he would have said, it was not in fact fine. So the fact that the pettiness of that person nearly destroyed the Lads Discuss Death Battle. I didn't want to co-host anymore if he was going to be on there. But at the same time, Richard and Jaru didn't feel comfortable taking over it. So... And it's also the case in, like, Discord. We don't want to be in a lot of Death Battle Discords just because of how toxic it gets. Because that mindset just comes out. It is really unfortunate, really, that it's, to this day, though, people still act like it. Of course, though, kids will be kids and trolls will be trolls. But it's one of the reasons we try and not really interact with too many members of the verse community, really. It's as harsh it is to say.
I'll just interact with my friends.
That's pretty much my mindset, because if for some reason Sean and Mate decided, hey Bill, sorry, but we don't want to do the Lads Discuss Death Battle anymore, and someone was like, oh, get this person, 90% of the time I'm going to say no, because I hardly know them, and most of the time when I look at other people's content, because this thing, I always try and look for guests to bring on Lads Discuss Death Battle, so I try and look at fan trailer makers, because they come up with some interesting ideas, but they get petty. Like, one person I tried to interact with, who ended up blocking my comment, was basically saying how if a new franchise enters Death Battle, you shouldn't be forced into watching it. And it's like, fair enough, but at the same time, though, you should also give them a chance, because it might be a new franchise you're into. And he got angry about it, deleted my comment. Or not.
I also like why, going to touch on the guest thing real quick. It's why we have, the auditions, beforehand, just interacting with them privately before we record, just to make sure, they aren't as toxic as the old people, we try for.
Yeah, to give an example, Purple Demon, you may know for voting me out on an Among Us session for finding me guilty of nothing.
I find you guilty of nothing. The sentence is death.
Now, obviously...
That was funny.
It was funny. We've played Among Us, but if he was to come to me now, but if I didn't know him and he came to me now, it's like, hey, if Gru versus Megamind versus come on, that's the matchup he wants to be on to discuss. I probably would be like,
fair.
I'd probably be like, no, I don't know who you are, and I don't really know your content. His content's pretty harmless, really. It's just mostly meme videos. But obviously, I've interacted with him. I've played Among Us with him. Multiverses, he kind of took me out when I was being a bit cheeky. Clip here, for example.
Oh, purple gold!
Yes! Yes! Yes!
But yeah, he's a fun guy. So we obviously after all the interactions, we're like, hell yeah, we'll have you on. And you know, if Richard and Jara even ask, hey, since this character's getting, can we do a discussion? Yeah, we'll think about it and see if we can move them in the schedule. But if a random stranger comes into, we look into their backstory, because there's certain, especially Dragon Ball members in the Death Battle community, we don't think we want on on lads.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because I would love to reach out to more Dragon Ball fans for Death Battle, but they can be really petty. I mean, if we had the reach of getting Lanny on, oh man, that would be amazing.
Oh, hell yes.
Because, sure, he was a bit bitter that he lost to 4, but at the same time, though, he was a good sport about it, and I would have loved to have interacted with him. But obviously, you know, we don't have that reach.
Is it sad that I would love to make jokes about Vegeta reacting to Trunks losing to a hedgehog?
Oh god.
I just remember seeing those jokes like in the comments, just like DBZ bridge lines, just sees that Trunks lost to a hedgehog. You fucking failure!
At least I lost to a fucking god.
Or there's like Trunks calls Super Silver a ripoff. So there's a new feeling, pride in someone else. Trunks loses to a hedgehog. Unfortunately, it's overshadowed by all this unyielding rage.
But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. We have to be very strict with who we want on because we just don't want another petty person on. We're not saying all guests we've had on are petty, like, you know, we might have had like 1 or 2 people that might be a little bit when it comes to certain topics, hence why we never discuss it with them. But we try and bring in people who are obviously fans of Death Battle and don't want to go on just to slander the people behind the scenes just because they didn't get the episode they wanted. In fact, bringing up Purple Demon again, he much as he wanted to talk about the matchup, he also said, do you know what, actually, I think I might be a bit bitter about the episode, so yeah, probably best you don't have me on. I kind of respect that about Purple, you know, to realising that, do you know what, I don't want to end up becoming toxic, so I don't want to be on. You know, so hence why I'd rather have him over a certain Dragon Ball and Sonic fan, which Mate and Sean know of. But
I feel like I had a thing I was going to say, but I can't remember what it is now.
was it going to be about reactors, maybe?
I think overall, the petty mind.
I was going to talk about just like that attitude, just like, I don't know, I felt like I'd be a bit like toxic. So this is also going to tie into reactors. I made this like little thing on myself because I have characters I don't like.
Of course, we all do.
Yeah, and I don't want to post a reaction and like have that dislike for the character overshadow the analysis. So there's a good chance if that character is in, I might just not post a reaction to that episode because I don't want to post a video where it's just me like unintentionally crapping on a character and like their fans.
Like, I think you
Sense.
even said that to us in private. Like, if a certain character gets on, you're not sure if you would want to do lads because of, you know, that hatred you would have, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can kind of respect it. It's unfortunate at the same time, but the last thing you want is to bring that sort of mindset into an episode. Because as much as we're not trying to make this to be like, oh, we're better than these people. We never go into that mindset. I mean, we're better than Hitler, but you know, that's a low bar to go with. But the point,
You could easily walk over that one.
yeah, like the point is, we just don't like this type of attitude, and we don't like bringing it to lads. Lads is just meant to be, as the you know, the inspiration for the name, lads hanging out and just talking about something we like. You know, like what people do after like the FIFA Cups. You know, they go to a pub and hang out and talk about the whole thing. So that's that was kind of my inspiration for lads to discuss Death Battle, but. Just like that sort of mindset, though, there have been times where you might see that sort of toxic behaviour where their team loses.
That's my equivalent of someone getting too drunk if we're doing the FIFA comparison.
Oh god.
Yeah, like, I can imagine being I can understand being a little bitter if your preferred character lost, especially if it's a character you really, really like.
Yeah, but we don't want like the
I mean-
pettiness of like trying to create a fight they lose and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I hate that mindset.
And I guess
Right.
to wrap
Or
up,
even that mindset of just like, oh, I want to have like this one character slaughter this group of characters because I think that's funny.
do you know what? As sad as
I have seen those requests.
the sad thing is we on Duo's battle mode we kind of had that with Batman family losing to Black Panther, which looking back on it, it was just Black Panther just slaughtering Batman, Red Hood, Robin, Batgirl, and Nightwing.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was
I
not
think
really
the
fun.
Duo even talked to the. I think Duo talked to the animator about that afterwards, though.
Yeah, so obviously,
Like at
obviously,
the end of the day, with that series, the animator normally chooses the ending of that.
yeah, true. But of course, I would probably have said maybe don't bring that sort of fight into it because it can even encourage that mindset. But I tell you, before I guess we're gonna have to wrap up soon. I guess we'll end off by even talking the final bit, talking about like even reactions have also kind of been like this. We've kind of talked about them, including reviews. Like, I'm not gonna name drop them because of course I don't want them to get harassed or I don't want them to have like a bad image to us. But it's kind of hard to want to watch a reaction or a review when they're so bitter about the winner. Like, I remember seeing this one channel with Saitama versus Popeye, but they ignored everything about Popeye because they just wanted Saitama to win because he's an anime character. And then,
I think I know who you might be on about.
and when they tried to explain why Popeye won, they just said, no, not listening. It was just like, that type of pettiness is just not fun to watch. And it seems as though people in the comments agreed.
Yeah, I actually do remember finding a reaction like that. It was to Goku Black v Reverse Flash. And I'll be honest, the comments of that video were amazing.
Oh, yeah?
Like
It was
one
just...
thing. Sorry, mate. Go on.
I don't want to like spoil too much because I'll sound like I'm calling this person out. But basically, their reasoning for preferring Dragon Ball over DC kind of hypocritical when it comes to Goku Black. Just saying.
Oh, yeah?
And the fans were just pointing that out, and I thought that was funny.
Okay, without spoiling too much, what was the hypocrisy? Or if you say it, will it be too obvious?
I feel like it will be.
Okay, then, well, tell me behind the scenes and, because I'm very
I'll be sure to do that. There's also, I think, yeah, it's even the same channel, just opening their reaction by just insulting whoever's watching.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's, yeah, that wasn't even the pettiness I was going to go over. I was just basically saying getting petty towards the characters.
Yeah, it's just like that sort of attitude, thinking like you're above like other fans, even the creators of the show you're reacting to. Like, get over yourself, mate.
Yeah, that pettiness I think a lot of petty attitude does come from ego as well. Because you want either your character or franchise to be better than the other. Which, going into that sort of mindset, I even feel like that can mentally mess with you. Because I've seen like a lot of Death Battle YouTube creators, and they get so petty over this sort of things, they end up actually going to jail. Because they go to an extreme. Like, I might as well actually say the name of this person, because what they did was scummy, and I feel like they should be called out. There was this Death Battle YouTuber called Ancamp. Now, originally, he was a big fan of Death Battle, but over the time, he started to get annoyed of like either certain franchises losing, and just like with Mate pointing out, he got annoyed where Ruby's characters would win in certain episodes. Although at the time it was just Yang winning her Death Battle and Ruby winning against Ragnar in that DBX.
Okay, yeah, I can understand, but like a DBX is just like,
Yeah, and it got to a point.
it's a DBX, it's not a death battle.
And it got to a point where if you apparently supported either of these channels, he said, and I quote, "Go kill yourself," because yeah, being a fan of Death Battle, Ruby, or Final Fantasy, you should kill yourself. Yeah, even Final Fantasy fans even said this too. It got to a point though where I'm probably getting this story a bit butchered, but he essentially became so mentally enraged with like people that he started he was alienating a lot of his friends who were fans of Death Battle, starting insulting people who were fans of Death Battle, and this so mentally fucked him up that at one point he tried to kill his girlfriend. Not because she was a Death Battle fan, but this sort of mentality of trying to be better than people and for certain fans.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I could actually say worse reasons.
Yeah.
Now, he got arrested for that, but the reason he actually got in jail was way worse. Like, trust me, it was way worse what they found out. But people, if you know the name Ancamp, don't be that sort of Death Battle hate. If you don't like Death Battle, fair enough, but the fact that... Because from a lot of older videos I've watched of him, from like 6 years ago, yeah, he's not a bad guy from those videos. But obviously, as he started hating Death Battle more and more, he started getting more aggressive with commenters, he started getting more aggressive with people who talked about him, or who talked positively about Death Battle. So, it's really... pettiness can really mentally mess with you.
There's another person who went down a similar route.
Yeah, we could spend all time naming, like, Death Battle petty people that have done this.
I actually don't remember how to pronounce this person's name anyway.
Yeah.
They responded to me about Blake versus Mikasa. I didn't even see it because I was getting like so many other notifications. My Twitter was insane. Like, I got a YouTube comment from somebody after the episode came out. It's just like, oh, by the way, you remember that guy who insulted you for being excited? Yeah, he's in prison now. And I'm just like, wait, who?
What?
Oh, that was Ancamp.
Oh, that was?
Yeah, that was him.
Oh.
And trust me, you're lucky. Yang the Insane also got harassed by him for being excited for Blake versus Mikasa.
I think at the end of the day, like, the petty attitude should, like, slow down. Okay, it's fine if you don't like the matchups that they do, whatever, but that doesn't mean you can intentionally make one out of pure spite and pettiness, because over time, that's going to affect yourself in a lot of different ways, and it will affect your content too.
And it will even affect like your relationship with people, like, because like these examples were given out, not many people really watch a lot of the people, like, because yeah, who wants to be around someone who's basically just a miserable tart? It's ruined a lot of like YouTubers I used to watch a lot, and the whole point of Death Battle is just meant to be a fun little what if sort of scenario. It shouldn't create this much pettiness and hatred.
Well, that, and Ben said like he views Death Battle as like a celebration of the characters.
Yeah. Now,
it's talking about their story, their accomplishments, and just like what they stand for.
Yeah. We could talk about this for ages, because trust me, there is a lot of pettiness that's happened in the verse community.
So much.
Hence
you know what? If the comments want a part 2, they can let us know.
Yeah, but the reason we do different variations of controversial third topics is because if we were to just talk about the controversy side of the verse community, that would be like a 10-hour podcast. So trying to do these special segments like pettiness, bias, and that sort of thing, we try and space it out. There's obviously a lot to say.
No, Billy, we'd be here until Christmas 2073, but yeah.
Yeah, so, the reason we wanted to bring pettiness was because, one, a lot of things that were kind of happening with the last 2 episodes did kind of inspire me wanting to talk about this from the vocal minority, but it also reminded me of just so much of that petty side of coming up with one-sided fights and having this sort of attitude towards franchises and characters. And yeah, at the end of the day, don't kill yourself. I know it sounded like I was about to say that due to the Ancampine reference, but just at the end of the day, just don't watch it. If you really are going to get into this sort of mindset, don't watch Death Battle, because it can really, really mentally mess with you. Try and find something that you like and just enjoy it. Don't shame people for being excited for things. Don't act this petty towards characters they like, because at the end of the day, you're just a dick. And
spelled lowercase, by the way.
Now, capital D. Oh wait, no, because naming. Okay. Yeah. So I don't really have anything.
I think you missed what I was getting at.
No, I get it, because
I'm gonna say I got it.
No, I get it, because Dick is also just a name for Richard. Okay, so yeah, lowercase would make more sense.
Oh, that's not what I thought it was.
Okay, so the point, I don't have much else to say about the pettiness. I think we all unanimously agree, just petty attitudes just not welcomed, not only on lads, but also I don't think should be welcomed in like this sort of community.
Yeah, my recommendation is just like, if you have a character or a franchise you don't like, just, I would say just stay out of it. Just, like, don't, try not to request them, and if you don't like even talking about it, just don't. You have that option.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, even if it's like not a franchise that's really popular, someone's gonna like that character. Unless they do bring Hitler into Death Battle, which by then you can trash him as much as you want. No one likes Hitler.
Oh, absolutely.
At that point, can everyone in fiction fight Hitler? Like in battle mode? Yes, that was an actual episode, people, if you aren't aware.
That was a funny episode.
It was a funny episode. But, yeah, I think that's all we pretty much have to say, unless you guys have one more comment or you want to make.
Nah, I'm good.
I'm fine.
Alright then, so, yes, people, we are going to talk about the season finale next time, and also, we are going to be live again. It's going to be the finale for Lads Discuss Death Battle, and we have talked about this a little bit. Yes, we are going to go live again for the season finale. Because we did it last time, why not do it again? Plus, we enjoyed the fan interactions.
Plus, I guess, like, going live, it will be that much more fun to... Because we're going to have another teaser for, like, what's coming next season, which, by the way, is season 10.
Bloody hell.
That's insane.
So, yeah.
So yeah, we're going to find out, oh, this character's going to appear. Who could they be fighting? Like,
yeah. So, we don't...
And, of course, we're going to have something special in store as well during that live stream.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the season finale, what we thought about it. We're going to interact with fans, listen to their comments. We're going to... If they do show tease characters, or they might try something different and not show that. If they do, though, yeah, that's going to be our second topic. But we're also going to have another third topic, not reacting to more death battles again, because I'm pretty sure if we were to do something like reacting to this season's, that live stream's getting taken down. But we do have something in mind. This is kind of something we've talked about from last year to this year, so we do want to kind of talk about it. So, we don't have a release date yet, because of course, anything can happen, so once we're certain of the date, we'll let you know on Twitter, on both Sean's, mine, and your other mate's Twitter. Assuming Elon Musk
it's also
hasn't
just going to be a
crashed it.
while because the next episode of FL comes out later than, you'd expect, apparently.
Yeah, so that's got me a little excited that it's going to be something big. So, I think with that said, thank you all so much for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw here, be sure to share the video around, get the channel growing, and it's good to be back with Lads Discuss Death Battle. Yeah.
Yay.
Mate, do you want to do your outro?
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe. If you did not enjoy, be sure to like and subscribe. What did you think about Deku vs. Asta? Who are you going for Vegeta versus Gogeta? And why is it Gogeta? Because he's the best? Yes. I couldn't help myself, sorry. And just don't be pessy, okay?
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it.
Get some help. Alright, Shawnee, do you want to do your outro?
Thank you, folks, for watching. I hope you enjoyed this session of Let's Discuss Death Battle. Billy, it is great to have you back, of course.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts on Deku versus Asta. What did y'all think of it? Who are you going for, Vegeta versus Gogeta? I love reading your comments, and hopefully y'all learned something from our whole talk about being pettiness and everything. And hopefully we can see you all for the live stream. With that being said, thank you folks for watching. I will see you all later.
And to make a staple that I have come back to Lads Discuss Death Battle.
Can we kick him off again?
Goodbye, everybody.